Mrs. Vivian, thank you so much for joining us on Real Issues with UCHE Nnogo. Of course, that's me, Vivian Bellon, right?
Yes, please.
Even though some people would like to call you Bello. Welcome. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Very well, thank you. So you attempted to run for presidency in the upcoming election. You took a step. Um, what happened? You didn't continue. Tell us about that.
Um, well, not that I didn't continue, but then let me actually say how I started. The when you look at Nigeria's political historical development, you will find out that in a country that is well over 200 million, of which our gender, the female gender, makes up makes up the bulk or the majority actually of the population. Yet this our population or our gender has not been sufficiently represented in governance and the political decision making in Nigeria. And as a result of that, the issues of women, the struggles of women, the challenges of women as and by extension, the majority of the populace has not really been given the due attention it deserves, has not taken any front burner. So you find a population that, even though it's in the majority, but yet is still highly vulnerable to a lot of shocks. You find a population that, even though it's in the majority, yet its voice is still seriously annoyed, seriously blurred. It does not occupy its pride of place. And as a result, a lot of things are going wrong. And at this age and time, we feel that women have come of age, especially in Nigeria, especially in Africa, and that it is the time that we aspire to lead this country. And so that is actually what was behind my decision, to declare to run for the presidency. And just like that was my first outing. And I've seen some of the pros and the cons, the nitty-gritty of it. And at due time, when I felt that I should step down and get into other things, I duly rested that aspiration just for the time being, to get back onto the drawing board, have more consultations, do.
Why did you step down, though?
Pardon?
Why did you step down? Any particular reason? Aside, yes, we know Nigeria said not to be ready for women. That's what it looks like. But for you to have even taken the step, what made you step up? Was it a financial thing, or was it what happened?
A number of factors, a number of factors. Um, During the primaries, particularly in the primaries, because a lot of issues that built up to the primaries, getting into the political turf, especially particularly the Nigerian political turf, as I experienced, I found out that there were a whole lot of constraints and hindrances that faces a woman in the political field. Chief among these was actually finance. It appears that our political setup is quite configured to keep certain category of persons, particularly female gender, out of contention. Because by the time you price a ticket in the range of 10, 20, 50, even 100 million, knowing very well that there is a gender or category or sector of persons that are challenged. For instance, physically challenged persons. Where do you expect those people to get that kind of money to aspire into this. So it is, we bring up these issues, and then you have the issue of patrimony, male, the issue that you raised of dominance, where you have that general perspective that why should we even open mouth and mention that you are running for presidency? Yes, as a woman, I remember in it was a meeting that I went to, and I was introduced as an aspirant, presidential aspirant. And then one of the men there got up and said, what country did you, where did you say she's aspiring? Is it her village? President of her village? So it was other women there that tackled him and said, you keep quiet, president of Nigeria. If you need a president for your village, you can go look for one. So
do you think that Nigeria is ready for a woman to take the lead in terms of presidency? Realistically, are we there?
No. I wouldn't say we are there yet, because I was just listening to you, some of the factors that are inherently, against the female gender and the political. So we are not there, even in terms of security. Even so many issues, because at a point, the thing is that sometimes you don't always look at challenges. You don't always look at the negatives. Because if we continue looking at the negatives, you will not even make any attempt at all. We will not even live where we are. But I am happy that not just me, but in this dispensation, quite a number of women even made that attempt, declared to run, and they ran just like me to some extent, before they eventually stepped down. Pardon?
How far did you go?
Well, I got up to the point of joining the primaries, but I couldn't get the hundreds of millions to get the tickets and all of that. So I just rested it at that point.
Well, we should say well done to you, because I'm sure lots of women would also like to do what you have done. So, which brings me to the next point. I'm just curious. Let's imagine you did actually succeed. What would be the first three things you think you would have done to make a difference as a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Well, and that was those three things are actually at the bottom line, the fundamental things that propelled me into into the race in the first place. I have this passion for turning around the lives of people, lives of Nigerians, particularly the ordinary Nigerians, chiefly through education. I have an undying belief in and passion for education. Because each day I drive through the length and breadth of this country, and I see the number of people, especially children, young ones, that some are totally not having any education at all, whereas some are having what you can call half education. The quality of education that they are getting is nothing to write home about. Some will say that they are in secondary school or primary and cannot even make a correct sentence, whereas some are even roaming aimlessly. And every year we celebrate the year of Children's Day and all of that, whereas these children are not being properly harnessed. And so that is one area that I actually set out to pay a whole lot of serious attention.
Quite interesting. You didn't mention anything about security, and that's really top in Nigeria.
Yeah, exactly. But then don't forget that you don't put the cart before the horse. And I say so. Putting the security, you say, side by side education. If you watch what is happening in our country now, I think that what we have been doing with regards to security is putting the cart before the horse, and that's why we've not been getting it right. You can't pump all the all the resources into defense, into security, without fixing the fundamentals, as it were. And those fundamentals, just as I have said, is education, and then getting the human capital, harnessing your human capital effectively. If you do this, you will have your need for security expenditures or security activities will even be minimal, because the human capital that are actually constituting some of these security challenges we have would be effectively well harnessed. Because when you educate someone, I cannot see how a medical doctor that is attending to patients, who will leave patients and go into the bush and be capturing people and asking for ransoms and all that. Do you understand? So many of these kids, our young ones that are doing these things, these are fantastic humans with excellent potentials. But because we have not fixed our fundamentals, because they are not where they are supposed to be, you find them in the bushes. They are grabbing us and saying, give us money, we release so. You get? So education, for me, fixing our fundamentals with regards to education and then human resources, we actually tackle a whole lot of. There are things that when you deal with it, it naturally takes care of the other one. It will take care of a bulk of our security issues.
How do we get more Nigerians to participate actively in the upcoming elections for Nigeria to get it right, to actually choose the right person? What can we do as Nigerians? What can be done?
Yeah, I think that Nigeria is coming of age actually in terms of interest in elections. I see some I'm seeing some changes from the amnesia, electoral amnesia that we used to have, collective amnesia. I'm seeing some the level of consciousness and awareness, and the thirst or the quest to participate. You can actually, it's perceivable. You can see it everywhere you turn to, in social media, in the conventional media, and what have you. Well, we may not have gotten there. There are people that apathy is still, there's still some level of apathy, but then that apathy may not necessarily go away until after the 2023 elections. And why I say so is there are still some people that sit in the fence and watch to see if votes will count in these elections, if all the machineries that have been put in place will actually work, if they will be activated. You understand? Because the issue of BVAs is there. You have the electronic transmission of voting and all that have been put in place to checkmate hijacking of the collective will of the people. So, and then we keep telling everyone, we keep telling the masses that, look, this instrument will work, that please participate in this process, that it will work. So it has, some people have gotten, taken the message, whereas some people are still watching to see, okay, well, let's see what happens. It may be business as usual, but let's see what happens in the 2023 elections.
Okay, just before I let you go, I'm just curious. Some people would also think that why didn't she even start from being a local government chairman or governor of her state? She just said presidency. It's your right, but I'm just also curious. Could you have started as maybe a governor?
Well, I think you have answered the question in a way. It is my right. I am a Nigerian woman, a full-fledged Nigerian woman. And I meet all the qualifications stipulated by law to run for office of the president. And so the question is, why not? Why not? Why not? But then it's also a way of, there are a lot of women that are hindered. There are a lot of women that are hampered by, oh, I cannot do it. Oh, I'm too young. Oh, they are this. Oh, they are that. No, you are not too young. There are even, I'm 45 this year. You know, in some countries, there are ladies that are even younger than me, you know, Finland and where have you, that are really running the country and running very effectively. You know, Ms. Truss that was just elected, you know, the other day, she's not, she's simply within my age range. So why not?
Do you intend to run for the next election?
When we get to the bridge, so now the crescent, certainly.
So what's next for you?
When I'm going back to school, I will be going back to school to do my doctorate degree, and so for now, that will be taking my attention.
Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the very best if you choose to run again or whatever office. Thank you.
Thank you.